Spice up your adventures by adding mirrors. Welcome to my channel. I focus on tabletop role-playing games, video games, and science fiction. I learned a bit doing it for this one. I hadn't really done any research on the history of mirrors, so I was looking around and I was actually surprised. I thought mirrors were a relatively new invention, and what we consider today the glass mirror with mirrored back, that actually is fairly new. That's in the 1800s. However, I didn't realize, I knew that there were kinds of mirrors, but one thing I hadn't run across was obsidian mirrors. So the first thing I ran across was this picture of a 4,000-year-old obsidian mirror. Now, obviously it's not going to be bright and as shiny as a modern day mirror. But then I look up obsidian mirror and they're available on Amazon and Walmart. People are using them for scrying and whatever, and that gets into some of the mysticism, which has always been, shall we say, I'm going to leave that alone. But if you think about it, that means that these type of things were available, perhaps at an expensive cost, going back at whatever time frame you're setting your adventure. For me, I was setting the world of Tiglath at about 500 BC in the Copper Age, Copper and Bronze Age. So I go, okay, mirrors I didn't think existed, but then they're talking about stone mirrors, and obsidian is one of them, and other kinds of mirrors, the things that are polished very highly. And you go, okay, if you get bronze or brass, you can polish that highly. If you've been in the military, you know how you can polish your brass and get that bright and shiny. So you know that brass can be polished quite nicely. So that is always an interesting thing, that you have the ability to make things shiny. And it's something that would allow you to use it as a mirror. Now, in the world of Tiglath, mirrors, obviously the silver kind of mirrors are going to be kind of expensive. And there is actually an argument about how far back in history were they able to create glass and put metal on them. That's a whole different discussion, and you can decide that as part of your world, what it's there. But you can always have mirrors. So why are mirrors interesting? Well, anybody who's ever went into a restaurant where they've mirrored the walls so that the restaurant looks much larger. It allows you to make a room look much larger if you mirror it. There's always interesting uses for mirrors on the ceiling, but we'll leave that one for other discussions. But you can put mirrors on corners. If you've seen Goldfinger, the classic James Bond film, I highly recommend it. If you haven't seen it, you ought to watch Goldfinger. It's got one of the best villains in cinema history, and he's totally understandable. He just loves gold. Art Goldfinger likes gold, and it's, and he's talking about it, and and it's got the wonderful line. James Bond goes, "Do you expect me to talk?" And he goes, "No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die." But in that, you also use gold as mirrors and things like that. But the mirror is where he puts it on. There's on a road, and it's just so you can actually see around the corner. But depending upon the direction you're driving, the headlights reflect back into you at night. And so James Bond drives his Aston Martin into a wall because he thinks he's playing chicken, and he's playing chicken with himself because there's a mirror at the end of the road. It's an interesting scene, but you can do that type of scene in your adventures. You can put mirrors at the end of walls. And as I found out, you could even do like an obsidian mirror, or you could do a polished rock mirror. And then you get into these people who do weird things like polished mud. Yeah, I'll look, polishing dirt. There was some things about that, yes, where you can create you take dirt and earth and you polish it into things like that. And there actually was an episode on Mythbusters where they used various kinds of excrement and they polished those, and they were actually surprised how polished they got with just using something like earth and water and creating a polished stone. And so you can have various things that are polished, and they may break, they if somebody fires an arrow at them and they think that they're shooting at a creature farther away. And then of course you always have the mirror of life trapping, which is a magical item that's in Dungeons and Dragons, and that was always fun to put in there, and you can do various things like that. But adding mirrors so that you can either see around the corner or something can see you around the corner. Or there's the scene in Saving Private Ryan where they take the piece of chewing gum and put it on the end of the bayonet, I think is what it was, that, or was an entrenching tool, I'm not sure, I can't remember exactly. And they stick the mirror on it so they can see around the corner because there's a sniper up there that's shooting at them. They need to figure out how to get them, and if they shoot the mirror, okay, they shot the mirror, but it's not shooting a person. So it's you can do things like that. Now, I had someone play an original Dungeons and Dragons, and he hired some henchmen. They died. He raised them, brought them back as zombies, had their bones cleaned and polished, reassembled, animated as skeletons, and had a mirror placed inside the chest cavity. So the skeleton would go stand at the corner, and you could see around the corner. Yeah, I've had characters do some strange things with mirrors. So what have you done with mirrors? Have you, as both a dungeon master, have you placed mirrors in your dungeon, and how has the party reacted to that? And as a player, what have you used? Have you used mirrors when you search and explore things? I mean, that was the other one, was you take a 10-foot pole and attach a mirror onto the end of the 10-foot pole so you can look around corners. So what have you done? I'd like to hear your comments. Thank you for watching my video. I look forward to learning what you think about this video. Let me know in the comments below. I appreciate all your comments. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, give me a thumbs down. I appreciate both forms of feedback. If you're new here and would like to subscribe, you can click on the icon on the left. If you're interested, there's more content on the right.